In it, he said that the White House would insist that BP set up that $20 billion escrow fund to pay claims from the oil spill. Well, yesterday, Republican Congressman Joe Barton called that whole deal a shakedown.
I apologize. I do not want to live in a country where any time a citizen or a corporation does something that is legitimately wrong is subject to some sort of political pressure that is, again, in my words, amounts to a shakedown. So I apologize.
Immediately, Joe Biden attacked.
There's no shakedown. It's insisting on responsible conduct and a responsible response.
Okay, the big question, though, is did Congressman Barton have a point? Stuart Varney joins us right now. Legally, BP not obligated to establish that escrow account, but they did. Was it simply the power of the presidency that was weighing down on them, and they said, we better do that or we're dead?
In that White House meeting, reportedly, Vice President Biden says, pay up or else. We'll bring the full court press of the United States government to bear on you, and you will pay.
You sleep with the fishes.
It bypasses the courts, doesn't it? I mean,
it does.
These liability claims should go to courts. This time they didn't. $20 billion to the fund.
Isn't it an isolated incident, Stuart? I mean, in the sense where this is a huge ecological, environmental disaster. I think that the reason we're talking about this in this way today is because we've seen this administration do it to other corporations, but they were not huge disasters. General Motors comes to mind.
Financial disaster.
Yes, but not on this magnitude.
The administration wins politically by beating up on BP and taking $20 billion off them. It also diverts attention from the administration's own failure to clean up this mess.
Right.
But look, what happens if BP can't come up with this $20 billion? Let's suppose that the administration does indeed drive them into bankruptcy.
Sure.
What happens if that happens? What happens if they can't come up with the $20 billion?
That's easy.
Essentially, BP becomes nationalized because part of this $20 billion deal is if you can't pay, we get your assets.
Wait a minute. So the U.S. is now going to own a British company?
It would. It would own BP North America if BP can't come up with this $20 billion. And remember, that's not the limit of their liability.
Sure.
There's all kinds of other stuff.
And they may not seize the company per se, but they might have to take over and effectively seize the cleanup, and that is the rub.
No. More than that. That $20 billion deal essentially contained a lien on BP North America.
Right.
The collateral. If you don't pay, we get the pipeline.
It was my understanding, though, from that meeting, that part of the negotiation was you pay up the $20 billion, and we will not put you into bankruptcy, and we will not make you financially liable for the other companies who can no longer drill now because we put a moratorium.
But it did not cap BP's liabilities at $20 billion. There's still the Gulf cleanup to be paid for by BP. There are still numerous lawsuits outside of this $20 billion. They could yet be forced into bankruptcy. And if they are, then BP is semi-nationalized by the American government. Do you want that?
Right. And would that effectively explain Tony Hayward yesterday answered everything in such a rope-a-dope fashion because he knows that there is an army of lawyers behind him ready to sue the pants off his company?
Any form of accepting any extra liability would have been jumped on immediately.
Sure. All right.
All right. Thanks so much, Stu Varney.